Welcome to Giant Ability TV.
The greatest problem that we have in Nigeria is ignorance. And to my greatest surprise, this disease has no regard for educational attainment, for both the educated and the illiterates behave the same way. And this accounts for the reasons why Nigeria from the time of independence has remained in motion but without movement. Can we please tell ourselves that enough of the flattery, hypocrisy, and deceit, and let us tell the truth that is exacting, but without which life is dull? Who in Nigeria of today, including all the political aspirants, can swear by whatever he or she believes in that Nigeria is on the right track and its myriad of problems are within control? This experiment called Nigeria has, without gainsaying the fact, failed, and the reasons for its failures are fundamental and profound. Elections have been the only channel through which we have tried as a people to chart a course or a path to a promised land. But all efforts so far have proved abortive and with no hope of a fresh start or progress in view. It is important to do things differently, and now is the time to take the bull by its horns and agree that self-determination is the right of the indigenous people of the world wherever they may find themselves and under whatever government and in whatever nation of the world, and not a privilege. The United Nations and the African Union charters provide for the rights of people to self-determine or choose what kind of government they want for themselves, and without harassments or inhibitions in the executions of these rights. Article 1, Section 2 of the United Nations Charter clearly spells out the rights of people to self-determine. The same rights for self-determination are also entrenched in Article 20 of the African Union Charter AU. It is interesting to note that Nigeria is a signatory to both the United Nations and the African Union charters. Their admonition from a wise man is instructive and applicable. Take care to get what you like, or you will be forced to like what you get. Where there is no ventilation, fresh air is declared unwholesome. Where there is no religion, hypocrisy becomes good taste. And where there is no knowledge, ignorance calls itself science. Recall that the agitations for the Republic of Biafra had never abated since the Civil War of 1967 to 1970, where millions of Igbos were killed for making their intention to go their way known. It has only subsided, and don't forget also that for this very reason and in pursuit of the same goal, Nnamdi Kanu, the leader of the independent people of Biafra IPOB, was illegally extradited from Kenya and still being held in custody even after the courts of law in Nigeria have discharged and acquitted him.
We're not fighting each other. We know where we're going. We're going to get Biafra. There is nothing anybody can do about it. Absolutely nothing. Nothing. I need them to understand this. We've crossed the Rubicon, the point of no return. There is nothing anybody can do. If I'm alive, if I'm dead, if I'm wherever I may be, Biafra will come. If I'm dead, it's even better because it will come far more quicker.
It is of necessity also to remind you that Chief Sunday Igboho, the leader of the agitation for reclaiming Yoruba nation, also had his house invaded and with some of his disciples killed and tortured, and he himself narrowly escaped death, and him with other leaders are now refugees in Benin Republic.
Is struggling to become president of Nigeria. There's nothing wrong with that. But we do not, because of him, collapse our struggle for the Yoruba nation. Just as we cannot ask him to collapse his own campaign.
We cannot wish away all these that are going on currently and focus on an electoral process that is already compromised. This truth is crystal clear, and is about the ruling APC party, who, because of all the atrocities committed against Nigeria and Nigerians under the watch of President Muhammadu Buhari for the past 7 years since he was elected, will find it difficult, if not impossible, to relinquish power to any of the other political parties or aspirants. This will create a stalemate that will lead to a political impasse, the magnitude of which will be unprecedented and capable of making the June 12 experience as nothing. The political space as we have it in the country does not guarantee a smooth transition of power from Buhari to anybody. To avoid serious violence and bloodbaths such as never experienced in Nigeria before, it is wise for us all to give up what we cannot keep for what we cannot lose and hit the nail on the head right here and now. Finally, let the Nigerian Armed Forces be informed that agitation for self-determination is not a crime or an act of illegality in the face of both the local, national, and international laws. The armed forces, understandably, have the mandate of defending the territorial integrity of Nigeria as well as protecting its unity. But rolling out tanks against innocent and defenseless people who are only agitating for self-determination through marching on the streets and staging a peaceful protest is a crime. Even at war times, they are what are referred to as counter-value targets as well as counter-force targets, meaning that the innocent citizens, including men, women, and children, and their private places, both personal and public, are forbidden from attacks. With all the problems that we have in our hands, which include how Nigerians are divided as never before on religious, ethnic, and regional lines, the Boko Haram insurgency, banditry and kidnapping, as well as a lack of political will by the ruling party to relinquish power, self-determination of the ethnic nationalities that are clamoring for freedom and unrelenting will be in the interests of us all. Bear in mind that we can still live in different countries and as friends if only we apply the requisite knowledge and wisdom to see the best in the worst of us and in the worst in the best of us. To discountenance the probability of Nigeria breaking into parts is to be daydreaming and living with erroneous complacency.
We don't believe we will be in Nigeria in 2023. And by the grace of God, we are not going to be in Nigeria in 2023.
With this in mind, we should be proactive in matters of securing our lives and properties ourselves. Just as water will always find its course, let every Nigerian reside in his home state before, during, and after the 2023 elections, which in reality is a mirage. In closing, if a nation expects to be ignorant and free, it expects what never was and never will be. Thomas Jefferson. Definitely, 2023 will not leave Nigeria as it has always been, and business will not be as usual. There is one thing that is stronger than all the armies in the world, and that is an idea whose time has come. Victor Hugo.
I think a few of my colleagues believe that there's no such thing as the unity of Nigeria is not negotiable. Of course it is negotiable. Even the unity of a family is negotiable. Even the coexistence as a couple of a husband and wife is negotiable. The moment either party feels that this union is no longer bearable, that he or she would rather go his own way, you let them have the right to sit down, consider their condition, and after, and only after, very, very, very careful, rational examination of the pros and cons of going out of the marriage, that they take the decision which suits them best. It's not enough just to say, I don't feel comfortable where I am, so I'm going. Are you sure of where you are going? Are you sure of the consequence of where you're going? Do you really feel that the grass is greener on the other side? And my appeal to everyone is, please let us be respectful of one another. Let us not demonize one another. Let us respect the views of everybody.
Thank you for watching. Please don't forget to subscribe to all our social media platforms, YouTube, Instagram, and Facebook.